Smoker is back. Good day, everyone. Viewers, subscribers. Nice to have you. Today, we're going to look into some very interesting issues. Now, I've heard that physics is in a state of crisis, and that there are so many different subcategories of physics. But nonetheless, the entire community, man, whatsoever it is of physics, particle physics, regardless of what it is, it's physics is in a state of crisis because you know what? When last have you heard any new discovery, any eureka moment discovery? That sent seismicity throughout the whole community of physicists. Nothing. In the 17, when come on to Sir Isaac Newton, there's what they call annus mirabilis. Wonderful here, miraculous here. Sir Isaac Newton in between 16 and 17th century. And Isaac Newton in 1907 to 1915, 1905 to 1915, we talk about the general relativity, special relativity. These are the year of annus mirabilis. Yeah, annus mirabilis here. Wonderful year for these great scientists. Copernicus in 1510 to 1543. That time period was his annus mirabilis. But then it comes on to Peter Higgs that discovered the Higgs boson or the Higgs field. That's in 19. Well, they predicted it, mathematically predicted it from 1964. And they discovered it in 2012 and was awarded a Nobel Prize in 2013. So this is Peter Higgs and his team. That was the year of their annus mirabilis, the wonderful year, a miraculous year, when they achieve astounding, astounding progress within physics, revolutionary height, change the whole landscape of physics. These people that have called a while Isaac Newton, Copernicus, Einstein, because remember, everybody want to prove to agree with Einstein in his physics is if you really want a name for yourself, you can agree with him. You have to dethrone him, and that's what every one of these physicists is going for, trying to prove him wrong somewhere, and probably will get a Nobel Prize for that. And so now from the Higgs boson, what they call a God particle. Well, there's no science because the person, Peter Higgs, was an atheist. So he didn't like the name God particle because it gives mass to the elementary particle, which make up the mass of the universe. And so the media is they love to run with a lot of stuff, and they tend to blow things out of proportion. Even the origin of life, environment, our their community, those biologists who want to explain life and for hot water vent and different environment, they try to theorize how life came about and stuff like that. And if they come up with something to prove, to say, any scientist that says something that that it's like they would say, come up with something and say discover how life was created or stuff like that. May they have a tendency to take that on a different level and just emblazon it all over the place and misinterpret what the scientists actually says and stuff like that. They have a tendency to do that. But you see, actually, the news media really gave the name God particle. Peter Higgs was not it was not it was not a theist. It was a he was an atheist, so he didn't like the name. But that to tell you why did they call it a God particle? Because it's without it, the universe would never be as how it is. They say, and it gave its foundational to elementary particle. Without it, you would elementary particle having a mass, and then which make up the mass of the universe. So it's so foundational that they call it the God particle, and based on the whole notion that, and I guess Peter Higgs didn't like it because when they talk about God, and these people don't like to talk about God. God, if they mention God, God is more like a metaphor, not really a true material, supernatural, all powerful being that transcends the universe. So whenever most of them talk about God is they might talk about in casual in any conversation, but most of the scenarios is always God is like a metaphor, not a real living supernatural being, you know. So they know that even the law of causality, this because every effect have effect as a cause. It's a law of causality, and Sean Carl might disagree because it doesn't. Sometimes he talk as if it doesn't like to things. People question things, the origin of things. What causes? What could likely be the sufficient reason for this or sufficient for that? So there are things he might allow to say, well, there is some reason or cause behind that, but not everything. It just is almost just the thing is as his. It doesn't require any um cause beyond itself, so just leave it as it. It's just a brute fact that it is something like that. Sean Carl is have that kind of um disposition towards wanting to find the cause behind every little thing that there is. But there's something about us though. We need always want to find the reason behind certain thing or the cause of that. Why did it happen? What's the reason behind it? They call it sufficient, the principle of sufficient reason. So there's a crisis within the among them. Remember, not all of them. It doesn't matter what topic is. It doesn't matter what the subject matter on the discussion is. You have several different physicists, and they will tell you several different things. All of them have their own opinion, or their own explanation of things and stuff like that. So when people talk about consensus of physicists, and they're certain, probably on the fundamental principle, the fundamental laws of physics, all of them might agree on that. But when it comes on to when things get branched out and gets expanded and stuff like that, and particles and energy and all of these things and many more stuff, they tend and they have the different, like for instance, when they come on to Big Bang, not all scientists agree with the Big Bang. And beyond the Big Bang, some might speculate they are the universe beyond the Big Bang. We are just a lucky winner of this cosmic lottery that we are here today. And then the universe give rise to life and give rise to us and stuff like that. So they are not making any advances within the field of physics, man. Within the department of physics, it's like it's from they discover in 2012 the Higgs boson. This is not 2024. From 2012 to now, for the physicists would be called annus horribilis. Annus horribilis, a horrible year. Not only a horrible year, but horrible years. Year after year is horrible. Annus horribilis 2023. Annus horribilis 2024. Nothing revolutionary has been discovered by these physicists. They are there waiting in their theories, they have the theories that they formulate, that they proffered, the mathematical theories and the hypothesis. And they're there playing around in the playground. Nothing fundamental, man, to give us a new insight into the universe. Probably should take the Nobel Prize and give it to the James Webb Telescope, man. Because only the James Webb Telescope is making some serious discoveries, and the discoveries that the James Webb Telescope is making is contradicting what physicists have been predicting and hoping for. Is nothing to confirm what they always said about the universe, as I said in previous videos. So why not give it to this why not give the Nobel Prize to James Webb Telescope, man? James Webb Telescope is just on a mission, debunking a lot of stuff these physicists have been saying and hypothesizing over the years, man. Debunking the argument. No. And back to the God particle thing, it even though it's the media that give that particle that name, it's just to tell you that it's the basic, most fundamental disposition of human, to inquire, to be curious of the whereabouts or the if there's an effect. If there's an effect, there has to be rational and logical, there has to be a cause. Right? Since the boson, the boson particle, Higgs field give mass to these elementary particles. See the cause and effect here? The law of causality at work. And they can't explain the mass of the Higgs boson itself. Where does its mass come from? So there are some serious lack of understanding within physics. We don't expect them to explain everything anyway. There are a lot of mysteries that they can't explain. And they can't explain it by the fundamental of physics either. Like what Sean Carl, would want to say, if you step outside of the fundamental of physics and, you're going to step inside something quite different than how the world is. It just a kind of very pessimistic when it come on to anything that transcend are beyond the fundamentals of physics. Now, and And there's a program named Over's Institution. They had James Storr on it, and then they have Dr. Stephen Meyer in it, and they were discussing the incredible mystery of life. When a cell dies, you don't know what you have lost. James Storr said, when a cell dies, you don't know what you have lost, and can you put it back together? Nobody know what they have lost. And the more they study, the more they become confused, they become perplexed, because as they study and they have the technology go deeper into the human cells and stuff like that, they discover that the cell is more complex than what they once thought it was. You can see this illustration in the textbook about the human cells. And some would even explain it in the sense that to get an understanding of how complex a cell is, it's like you take an entire city, a city of Toronto, a city of New York, and just put it this way, then turn it this way. If you take a cell and magnify it to the level of a city of Toronto, magnify it to the order of the city of New York, and you see all these different complex activity taking place. That is the way you understand the cell, how complex it is. Vastly complex. Vastly complex. And so this illustration in the textbook is nowhere close as how the cell is. Right? It's nowhere close. It's just like how I've dealt with the human eye in one of my videos. I talk about the cornea, the iris, the rods, the cone, and the pupil, and all of these things on a megascopic level, but on a bio chemical level. Take it down on a super microscopic level, you'll see how extremely, extremely complex it is for us to see. It's amazing. And but Jim Storr was talking and saying that the deeper they go, it's the more things become complex. The deeper they go, you think that is why a lot of people don't want to let go of the theory of evolution, because look at it this way, man. It's madness to hold on to this theory of evolution, because Darwin never understood a lot. The information that he had then compared to what we have now. Come on, man. Far advanced. Far advanced. And yet people hold on to the rudimentary information and knowledge that he had back then about biology and all of these things. Why they refuse to let go? Because apart from Darwin, the only alternative, the only rational, logical alternative is theism. That things were created by a supernatural being. That's the only reason why they don't want to let go of it. And to show you that in spite of all the evidence, in spite of all the proof of something, people will still hold on to the ignorance, man, and willing to change. Because what the knowledge that we have now about the cells, protein, and all of these things, if Darwin had this kind of information, he would totally just take all his belief about the cells and all of these things and just throw them in fire, just burn it, because you see that all of what he's saying is just nonsense. And in spite of all that, people refuse to let go of the theory of Darwin. Some think there's so many top scientists that came out and debunked it, man. It's dead. It's a dead, bankrupt theory. It's dead. Let it go, man. Those who holding on to, let it go. We have a knowledge. We have so much knowledge about the biochemistry. So much knowledge about how the cell work. Talk about. You think Darwin have any understanding of microtubule and what they call them these motor proteins that walk on those self-assembled road and to carry cargo to the different um, cells, to different portions of the cells, and all of these things. And after they use the road, just break down, and it's amazing. And the speed in which these things travel on these microtubule, like the self-assembled roads within the cell. We can't make any road like that. We have to make roads out of either asphalt or tar, or we can't make any road like that, man. And yet you have all these different roads, and they're responsible for cell division, without but these protein motors, you couldn't have cell division toward the daughter cell without this motor protein that walk on this road and carry cargoes and travel swiftly, you know. And when one of those motor proteins, not the gate, the gate of one of those motor protein, and in one of them, the gate is not probably can say ataxia. Say it happened. The discoordination of their movement, the propagate for them as they move along the microtubule. If the gate any at all get disrupted, you can have heart problem. Show you can have heart problem. These things are fundamental. Darwin have not a clue about these things. Not a clue about, when we talk about motor protein, we talk about bacterial flagella and all of these things that propels bacteria and so on. These, and when you check it over 40 different proteins, and they are irreducibly complex, because you take away one of those proteins, you cannot function. All of these proteins have to be there simultaneously, all at once, in order for it to work. Therefore, it cannot come by incremental stages over eons of times, millions of years, and all of these things, and co-opt from this and to over, and even by co-opting parts from a different mechanism, protein mechanism, you still take time for that to happen over millions of years. But just like the blood clotting mechanism, it has to have all of these protein there for blood clotting mechanism to function. They cannot incrementally come about over millions of years. As Dr. Tor said, it's time. When they come on with this geological time, this vast amount of time in order for something to happen, it's contradictory to chemistry. Contradictory. You have to do things rapidly in order because time is of essence, to carry on what you carry on within the lab and so on, to make different molecules and stuff like that. According to Tor. But then Tor reach up, he says that nothing that they come up with to explain life you know, make any sense. Things is too complex, and proving them wrong. They move to from one to two, and they think they can solve this, and then when they at being at two and they dig deep, investigate, they find out this thing is insurmountably complex. They're mesmerized. They're at their wits end. They're at the wits ends, man. So he said, Dr. Stephen Meyer said he's talking about intelligent design. Intelligent design. Tor seems to be sympathetic to it, but it doesn't want to concede to it. It doesn't want to be a part of the intelligent design movement. I don't understand why, because that's the best alternative. That's the best alternative. And even David Hume, sometimes people said we Christian don't tend to read Christian books or stuff like that, Christian articles, but we don't read non-theist or non-Christian books like within these kind of thing that we're talking about. We do, like him with David Hume. He's a skeptic, but he believed that there is in cause and effect. And there are many that have discussion over his understanding or his belief about cause and effect nonetheless. But he said that he needed a different theory, a different theory need to be formulated to probably try to answer these questions that he is observing. He have, because by observing the complexity, the irreducible complexity of these living things, these what talk about the molecule doesn't have any brain, it doesn't have any drive or orientation towards life, and all of these things in and of themselves. Someone has to take them, like what he does in his lab, and use them to create something. James Toy is an intelligent man, and he and his theme involved into intellectual input into taking these molecules that they don't have any orientation towards life or anything. They have no brain and stuff. But someone with intelligence, has to take them in order to make something with them. And a cell it's living. It's living, but what gives it life? What makes it alive? It can die, but what makes it alive? There's something beyond physics. There's something beyond those ribosome, RNA, DNA, and all of these amino acid transfer, messenger RNA, transfer RNA, all of these different things that's within the cell. All of these organelles within the cell, the mitochondria and all these things, ATP to break, the bond to give us energy and all of these things. It's becoming unexplainable by natural means, and it's crying out for some supernatural entity to explain all of this. That's why people back then come up in probably 16th century talk about vitalism, entelechy by Aristotle. There's telos, there's some non-physical component to life and stuff like that. But I don't understand why James Storr is saying asking for a different theory when he have Dr. Myers talking about intelligent design. What other theory you can come up with now to explain all of that you have been observing, James Storr? What other theory you can think of? There's several theories out there to explain um, biogenesis. I don't understand that. There's a professor named Dennis Snowball. He's a kind of maverick out there that look into the human genome and the whole genetic genome and proteins and genes, and it's always said that the DNA is the blueprint of life. It's Michael Bay, all of these books that you read about DNA says the same thing, but he tend to differ. He believe that, and as they study the human genome, they discover there's so many things. We are so complex. We're extremely complex. We're the most complex being within the entire universe, and the universe is enormously complex too. But to show you the level of complexity that we have comparing to lifeless matter, and they believe that the whole human system, the whole within the whole human body is responsible to keep you going and keep physiological processes going, not just the DNA itself. Because within the gene, as they study different genes, I study the whole genome. There are genes that is responsible for turning off things and switching on things and all of the, and sometimes they are far apart. So there's a complex network of genes that that work in tandem with our DNA and RNA and all of these things. So it's not just the DNA, the whole human genome. In the 19 in what I think in the 1990s, when they first mapped the human genome, and they all get, you mentioned that too. Dennis Noel mentioned that too. I remember I don't know, probably 1992, when they complete the mapping of the entire human genome, and everybody was excited. There was a big pandemonium about the mapping the human genome. Now we're going to find which gene responds for this disease, which gene is responsible for that disease, and we're going to find a cure for these, because now we know that gene responsible for that. And until now, what is there anything taking place? No. Even though they know the genes that cause it, they can't fix it. They can't cure it. Okay, they might think one gene responsible for this. Dennis Snobler agreed that there's some monogenetic situation where one specifically that gene, and sometimes we can come up with some we can individualize some medicine to deal with individualizing medicine, personalizing medicine based upon one's genome, because everybody's different, and so you can target that specific gene in a way to either to treat the disease or to cure it or whatsoever. But most of the what we medical or medication has to do with treatment, not necessarily curing anything. But we'll think by mapping the human genome with this, we would wipe out several of these deadly diseases that are plaguing us for centuries. But that's not the case. To find a gene for cystic fibrosis, they can't cure it. That all they can do is just organ transplant. Organ transplantation, that's all they can do. They can't cure it. And even when you come onto cancer and they talk about gene therapy and all of these things, people still die. Uh, there's a belief that mucin within the gut, these bacteria within the gut that's not yet um, is not yet incorporated within any form of probiotic, but it's in the gut. It's lining your intestine, and it has been believed that if any form of immunotherapy you're going to take for cancer, it has you have for in order for the immunotherapy to work on you work properly and in a curative way, you have to have those bacteria mucin within your gut in order for it to work. If you don't have that within your gut, it will not work for you. You will die nonetheless. And the way in to maintain and sustain these kind of bacteria within your gut, you have to eat certain food, like probably pomegranate juice, drink this very often and stuff like that. These are some of the things that I have to understand. And then you have nitric oxide and all of these things are fundamental to the human health. There's so many things. We are so complex, man. And the more they study these things, the more the body's revealing more secrets to them. Not too long ago, we find it that the rosy neural network in our brain, in our head, in our brain, it's and they're responsible to turn things off and prohibit certain neural activity. So man, we are incredible complex, and so Dennis Tobel is challenging all of these fundamental theory of biology, and believe that when we talk about even epigenetics, and environment play a great role in how gene express themselves and stuff like that. Or the things that we eat, you know, um, is very important in gene expression and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff is questioning and challenging, right, and it's something that's to look into. It's something to look into. Very educative, very interesting to look into these things and to be awestruck by the complexity and incredible design of the human body. And you thought people, we understand most of the thing in our human body, but they always discover new things. And yes, how is that? In the meninges of the brain, that thing that cover your brain, there's a next one. I think probably before. I think it used to be 3, and now it's 4 layers. So it's wonderful that they're discovering all of these things about us, man. Now on the theories of everything, with I was listening to Sean Carl talking about the whole issue about the crisis in physics, and it was talking about a lot of other stuff there, what he's working on and all of these things. And one of the things I heard him say that you want to know where the laws of physics came from. Coming from a man, why would you want to know where it comes from? He's one of those guys that doesn't like to question the the cause of everything. The origin, or where where does this thing come? What's the cause of this and stuff like that? But the fundamental laws of physics, the laws that is so cherished, you want to know where they came from. Why? You're one of those guys that just accept that the universe is just brute fact. Just accept it. Don't ask where the universe came from. Just accept it that the universe is here, and we're here. So our job is our profession to study it and to tell you guys and to keep you updated on the new element that is discovered, and all of these things, and make complex things more simple, and stuff like. And a lot of times these physicists and scientists, they violate the most basic, one of those most basic rules. The Occam razor. You know, they are sometimes they have complicated reason for a thing. If they posit, they always have they have some very complex. And even the many world hypothesis is a violation of the Occam razor. The many world hypothesis, even compared to the to God as the most rational, reasonable, and even if you don't want to say it's a biblical God, but there's intelligent. That's what intelligent movement, or they don't want to call it intelligent design, is kind of redundant, but the intelligent design movement is all about that. They don't want to say God, but they say there is an intelligent agency behind these things. While we look on these things, and based on our uniform experience of everyday life, we see a car, we know that it doesn't just come by natural means. Some manufacturer made these things for us to drive and house and all of these things. Every furniture in a house as a efficient cars. Somebody made them. And so is an extrapolation, It's commonsensical to think that way. Because we have never seen anything came to be by some erosion, tornado, or any naturalistic process. Never. So he's a theoretical physicist. I'm going to read from another physicist named Jason Lies. Brilliant guy. He will explain to you where the all of these laws come from. The law of life, biogenesis, the laws of chemistry, the laws of physics, the laws of mathematics, the laws of logics. Where all of these laws come from? Where? Sean Carl would like to know. And even if I tell him, I can tell him, and this is not being arrogant, it's just being realistic and commonsensical. The reason why he's seeking, but he does not want to accept the theistic explanation, is because he's an atheist. That's why. He's asking the question, but he's looking to find the answer within the universe itself instead of outside the universe. You know what he said? He says that intelligent design is science, but sloppy science. Sloppy. I would like to ask him, what does he mean by that? What do you mean sloppy science? Because intelligent design, as it presupposes a supernatural being, And you don't want that. You don't want there to be a supernatural being. But let me read what Jason Lai says. The universe obeys certain rules, laws through which all things must adhere. The laws are precise, and many of them are mathematical in nature. Natural laws are hierarchical in nature. Secondary laws of nature are based on primary laws of nature, which have to be just right in order for a universe to be possible. But where did these laws came from? Why? And why do they exist? This is the same thing Sean Carl is asking. But now, Jason Lies is going to answer these questions. Jason Lies. Let me give you some information on Jason Lies. Jason Lies is a Christian astrophysicist who wrote and spoke about science and the defense of the Christian faith. He earned his master's degree and a PhD in astrophysics at the University of Colorado in Boulder. Dr. Lies currently works as a director of research at the Institute for Christian Research. So now this is the question that Sean Carl is asking. Jason Lies is going to give him the answer. If the universe were merely the accidental byproduct of a Big Bang, then why should it obey orderly principle? Why? Why should it obey orderly principles? As I said before, anything you use any kind of explosive on, there's no orderliness to it. This is destruction. Destruction. If the universe was merely accidental byproduct of the Big Bang, then why should it obey orderly principle or any principle at all, for that matter? Such laws are consistent with biblical creation. Natural laws exist because the universe has a creator God who is logical and has imposed order and is universe. Is universe. The universe is not a byproduct of cosmic evolution. Evolution can't create anything. Everything in the universe, every plant, animal, every rock, every particles of matter, light wave is bound by laws which it has no choice but to obey. The Bible tells us that they are laws of nature, ordinances of heaven and earth. Jeremiah 33:25. These laws describe the way God normally accomplishes His will in the universe. God's logic is built into the universe, and so the universe is not haphazard or arbitrary. It obeys laws of chemistry that are logically derived from the laws of physics, many of which can be logically derived from other laws of physics and laws of mathematics. The most fundamental laws of nature exist only because God wills them to. They are logical, orderly way that God upholds and sustains the universe. He has created. The atheist is unable to account for the logical, orderly state of the universe. Why should the universe obey laws if there is no lawgiver? But the law of nature are perfectly consistent with biblical creation. In fact, the Bible is the foundation for natural laws. And I get many viewers now disagree with that. No God here, no God here. All lives come from life. Omni vivum ex vivo. All life comes from life. The law of life, there's one well-known law of life, the law of biogenesis. This law states simply that life always comes from life. This is what observational science tells us. Organisms reproduce other organisms after their own kind. After their own kind. Dog only reproduce dogs, not wolves. Now wolf reproduce dogs. A wolf begets wolf. Simple. Evolution changes things around. A elephant can evolve from a rodent, a mouse. Eh? Elephant. Because I think I heard it on one of those documentary programs that they have some evolutionary connection there. A mouse and an elephant. Historically, Louis Pasteur disproved alleged cause one alleged case of spontaneous generation. It showed that life comes from previous life. Since then, we have seen that this law is universal with no exceptions. This is, of course, exactly what we would expect from the Bible. According to Genesis 1, God supernaturally created the first diverse kinds of life on earth and made them to reproduce after their kind. Notice that molecules to man evolution violates the law of biogenesis. Let me read that again. Notice that the molecules to man evolution violates the law of biogenesis. Evolutionists believe that life at least once spontaneously formed from non-living chemicals, but this is inconsistent with the law of biogenesis. Real science confirms the Bible. Real science confirms the Bible. Everything in the universe, every plant, animal, every rock, every particle of matter or light wave is bound by laws which it has no choice but to obey. The law of chemistry, life requires a specified chemistry. Our bodies are powered by chemical reaction and depend on the law of chemistry operating in uniform fashion. Even information that makes up any living being is stored on long molecule called DNA. Life as we know it would not be possible if the laws of chemistry were different. God created the law of chemistry in just the right way so that life would be possible. The law of chemistry gives different properties to various elements, each made of one type of atom, and compounds made up of two or more types of atoms that are bound together in the universe. For example, when given sufficient activation energy, the lightest element, hydrogen, will react with oxygen to form water. Water itself has some interesting properties such as the ability to hold an unusual large amount of heat energy. When frozen water forms crystal with six-sided symmetry, which is why snowflakes are generally six-sided. Contrast this with salt, sodium chloride, crystal, which tend to form cubes. It is the six-fold symmetry of water ice that causes holes in its crystal, making it less dense than its own liquid. This is why ice floats in water, where essentially all frozen compounds sink in their own liquid. Properties of elements and compounds are not arbitrary. In fact, the elements can be logically organized into a periodic table based on their physical properties. Substances in some column on the table tend to have similar properties. This follows because elements in a vertical column have the same outer electron structures. These outermost electron determine the physical characteristic of the atom. The periodic table did not happen by chance. Atoms and molecules have their various properties because their electrons are bound by the law of quantum physics. In other words, chemistry is based on physics. If the laws of quantum physics were just a bit different, atom might not even be possible. God designed the law of physics just right so that the laws of chemistry would come out the way He wanted them to. What are you thinking so far? What are you thinking so far? Nothing makes sense apart from God, man. Nothing makes sense apart from God. And that is what intelligent design is all about, even though some might not want to say the God of the Bible. And our God, some probably want to say some kind of alien species somewhere out in the universe. But intelligence flows from the mind. Intelligence flows from the mind. And these things are intellectual property. The laws of the universe, Sean Carls, came from a lawgiver, God Himself. Simple. Let me read this. The laws of physics. The fields of physics describe the behavior of the universe as its most fundamental level. There are many different laws of physics. They describe the way the universe operates today. Some laws of physics describe how light propagates, or energy is transported, or gravity operates, or mass moves through space, and many other phenomena. The laws of physics are usually mathematical in nature. Some laws of physics can be described with a concise formula, such as E equal mc squared. The simple formula of M equal ma shows how an object with mass, and that stands for M, will accelerate when a net force F is applied to it. It's amazing that every object in the universe consistently obeys these rules. They describe how nature's works and function. Blind materialistic process cannot do these things, man. It's commonsensical. Maths flow from the mind. We discover maths. We don't invent it, we discover it. We don't invent the law of chemistry, we discover it. It's the language of the universe. In biology, it's alphabet. Alphabet ruled biology, man. ACGC, ATGC. These four alphabets. It's rule. So these are words, and then the sentence, coding, the triplets. And then, so these are the sentences. And these, form the whole book of life, which is a human body, human being, organic structure, the DNA, nucleic acids, nucleotides, lipids, carbohydrates, RNA, DNA. Whoa. There's an hierarchy in physics. Some laws of physics can be derived from other laws of physics. For example, Einstein's famous formula E equal mc squared can be derived from the principle and equation of special relativity. Conversely, there are many laws of physics that can be derived from other laws of physics. Many of these are suspected to be derivative principles, but scientists have not yet deduced their derivation. And some laws of physics may be truly fundamental, not based on other laws. They exist only because God wills them to. In fact, this must be the case for at least one law of physics, and perhaps several, the most fundamental. Logically, this is because if the most fundamental laws were based on some other law, it would not be the most fundamental law. The laws of physics, along with their associated constants, are fine-tuned in just the right way so that life, particularly human life, is possible. This fact is called the anthropic principle. Anthropic comes from the Greek word for man, anthropos. The sun was a little bit too close to us, we would burn to death. If it was a little bit too far away from the earth, we will freeze to death. But where it is, perfect for life. Everything within the universe, call it the physics, the constants of physics. The constants of physics. So electromagnetism, gravity, strong, nuclear force weak, nuclear force, the fundamentals of physics. And to close off, I don't want to be long. Hebrews 11. This is what the Bible said. I know many. You don't like the Bible, man. It's many don't. They don't want to associate the Bible with science. But listen to what the Bible says concerning the universe. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen, the material aspect of the universe, what is seen was not made out of what was visible. We talk about Higgs field, we talk about quantum wave function and superposition of particles and all of these things. And some even speculated that at the fundamental level of the universe has no causal basis. Cause and effect done at this level is absurd. Why do you think they can't find, and they will never find, the foundation of the universe? They'll never fathom it. They're looking for material. They're looking for material explanation. What is the fundamental particles? The fundamental part, a particle that is very fundamental to the elementary particle that make up the universe, the Higgs boson. But yet they cannot explain the mass of the Higgs boson. The energy the master of the universe, everything about the universe came to be by word, by the word of God. The universe is linguistically based. It is word based. When you say something, can you verify that by any scientific laws? Can you put my voice, vibration, can you put my words, my spoken word under a microscope? What fundamental laws of nature can quantify my words, the vocal sound that comes from my mouth? They can't. They can't. It's subject to no fundamental laws of physics. You have to just believe that it was created by God Himself. The fundamental laws of physics that this physicist is talking about cannot account for the cosmogony of the universe, the origin of it. That's why they have to say they don't know where it come from. They can't explain it. Oh, you will never come to the bottom of it. Because the bottom of it is verbal. It's metaphysical. It came to be by the word of God. By the word of God. There is a cause. The universe is a massive effect of a verbal declaration. Light, let there be light, and there was light. It called the universe into being. So how you gonna come to the beginning of this? You acknowledge, of course, that the universe is in the Big Bang. Big Bang, at least said, and a lot of people, as I said, a lot of people don't believe in a lot of scientists do not believe the Big Bang. There's a lot of other, as Jason Lies pointed out, a lot of faults with the Big Bang too. The reason why they don't believe in the Big Bang because it comes with its own faults. Right? Come with its own faults. There's a measure up to certain things, according to some physicists. But the universe is a word-based universe. You will never use physics or the laws of physics to fathom this universe. You have to believe by faith. It's a metaphysical. The origin of the universe, as I said before, is metaphysical. It's not physical. It's metaphysical. And the same thing about the life itself. To life, by faith we understand that all life was formed at God's command, so that what you have seen, the birds, the dogs, and all life forms, the trees, was not made out of what is visible. It's not made out of something that you can see and touch. You can study all you want. Study all of these things. Study the plant and it grows and all of these things. Study it. Because now we have quantum biology. We have quantum biology now. And it's all about quantum wave function. It's about waves spreading out, delivering information to different ears of an organism very quickly without any hindrance and interference to keep things, life going. But not until you understand this, man, that universe is linguistically based, it's word based. They will search, these guys will search and tired and exhausted, and they will never fathom it because they're looking for something that they don't believe. They're looking for something that they think is physical, that is explainable by the fundamental laws of physics. That's why they will never understand. They will never reach it. Just like biogenesis, life is a mystery. And how do you explain it? How do you explain the origin of? They're looking for how life come to be. Life itself is word based. Life is word based, man. God called these things by power of His word. All of these things is word based. Does it sound ridiculous to you? Does it sound outlandish and far-fetched to you by saying that these things are linguistically based? So all of these guys who are looking down at the bottom of the ocean and all crevice and corner of the earth, looking in some vent and some puddle and some hole to explain that life come from there and all of these things. You'll never explain the origin of life, because the origin of life will never be found there. Will never be found there, man. Will never be found there. We'll continue this another time. There are more. I need to explain more of these fundamental laws, but Sean Carl, you need to be told these things, man, because you're going to look and you're going to search. And even if I get the chance to see you face to face, and I heard you, Sean Carl, you're asking where these laws come from. I can tell you. I don't think so. I don't. No. There has to be some scientific explanation to these laws. That's why, and even though John Lennox explained to these guys in debates, man, laws just describe what the universe was created to function. They can't do anything. They don't prescribe anything. They describe how things function in an orderly way. That's why we can have science, because there's a logical law-like way in which the universe, predictable way, the principle of uniformity. If the universe was haphazard and arbitrary, we couldn't have any law. We couldn't have any physics. We couldn't have chemistry. None of these fundamental law couldn't be. It would be a very, very hairy, weird place. But there's a lawgiver, the creator behind all of this, and create it in such a way. Give man the tool of science to discover and to see how we create these things, and then in turn give him the praise and give him the glory, man. That's it. There's a Palestine, Philos, to all things. It's not things don't happen by chance and here by chance. Onto the physicists, where the universe gave rise to us. The universe created us. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? With us, it so happened to be that we find yourself in this universe, and this universe is here by sheer luck from multiply the universe somewhere within some other world. And then you talk about spatial dimension, wrapped up in three-dimensional and all of these things. That's what string theory is all about. 4 dimension, 6 dimension, 7 dimension wrapped up, and then eventually our universe become unfold and unfurled, and we are here, universe is here, then it gives rise to everything within itself. You believe all of these things? Which one make more sense to you? Which one has a better explanatory power to it? Which one seems to accord with the Occam razor? Which? Remember, the razor is there to shave unnecessary causes. It's there. That's why it's called Occam razor. Which is it? Let me know. Give me your feedback, man. Thank you all. See you next time.